Okay, folks, what we got is another day, another Code Wars breakdown, and this be a one, or this is a Code Wars exercise done in Python. It is print, count, and numbers. Print, count, and numbers. I think this is a good one, but it's poorly explained, unfortunately. But I think a saving grace of poorly explained exercises is it allows you to use your thinking a little bit more, because like really in the real world, you're going to encounter situations where problems aren't stated correctly. You got misinformation, you got incomplete information, and you, the programmer, has got to string this shit together and make it work, So that's how it goes in the real world. So maybe Code Wars is preparing you or this individual or these individuals preparing you by giving you poorly worded instructions. They're not completely poorly worded, they're just missing a very important key piece, which you got to figure out yourself. But through my magic, I'm going to tell you where the missing piece is, so when you do this one, if you do it, you can figure it out. But probably, I'm going to show you the whole thing, so if you're going to do it yourself, you would have done it already, right? So, whatever. It's probably the longest I've gone before even introducing the exercise. All right, let's look at the description. Enough yapping. Given a string of integers, count how many times that integer repeats itself. Then return a string showing the count in the integer. Here's the example. You're going to be given a string of integers, and this is kind of weird, where you're going to list the integer and its count in the resulting string. I'm going slow because I'm trying to figure out a way to explain this, because it's kind of weird. So you see this here, the key thing that's missing. So you're supposed to get a count of an integer, and you're going to basically concatenate characters in the format of the count of the integer first, and then the actual integer second. What this individual doesn't tell you, and it's a glaring omission, is that you're supposed to count the consecutive occurrences of the integer, not the total occurrences of the integer. I guess those could be the only interpretations, but it's not how many of that integer are in the entire thing. It's just consecutive just right now. So it's not even consecutive, like if you have a couple of consecutive, then you have more consecutive later on. It is how many consecutive of this integer are there right now, and then you put it in there. So I don't even know if I explained it well, but I explained it better than it's explained here, because the word consecutive does not appear here at all. So just me saying consecutive is better than the homie, whoever did this thing. So how many consecutive? So you have ones, there's two consecutive ones. So because there's almost close the thing. If because there's two consecutive ones, you have 2, 1. That means two consecutive ones. All right, then you move on. Then you have a 2. There's only one consecutive 2, so it's going to be 1, 2. And that was a hell of a long explanation, but now I'm kind of getting into the flow of it. I'm finding my bearings. The 3, there's only one consecutive 3, so it's 1, 3. And there's a result. So there's 2 consecutive 1s, 1 consecutive 2, 1 consecutive 3. Guess I'm in the ramble mood today. So there's another one here. If your input is this string, then here's your output, because there is one consecutive 2, which is going to be this. And then there's 2 consecutive 1s. So it's 2, 1. And then there is 1 consecutive 2. 1 consecutive 1, which was a 1, 1. And then there's 1 consecutive 3. Confused yet? I know you're not. And finally, if the string is empty, or null or nil or any of that shit, just return an empty string. There you go. All right, let's dig in. Ale oxen free. I think I'm going to pick up the pace because I rambled a lot earlier. So I want to hold your interest so you watch until the end of the video, right? But it says if I know many have already clicked out of here because I was a little disjointed, but now I'm focused. So I think I glossed over it probably, but if the string is not numeric, you're going to return an empty string. So that's the first thing to check. Meaning, like, yeah, if it's not all digits, that's what you're doing. You're returning empty string and no semicolon. So the string that I'm going to return, I'm going to call it counts. Just usually counts would be a number, but I'm breaking the mold here. And I'm going to use this variable count to count the consecutive occurrences of a number at a certain time. It's always going to start at 1 because if you encounter a certain number, its count is 1 already. You would not start a consecutive count at 0 because if it was 0, it means that number is not even in the string. So the count will always start at 1. And here's how we can start the loop. And wait a minute, I forgot I. And folks know I'm not intoxicated. I know my style is a little bit different today, but I am sober as a something, whatever you say. So, while I is less than the length of data, so I'm looping the entire numeric string here, and how I'm gonna look at this is for each digit or each numeric string, really for each numeric character that I encounter, I'm going to say if the character next to this one is the same digit character, then I'm going to increase the count. Because if I have let's illustrate here. Let's say I start here. If I have a 1 next to this 1, it means I've got another consecutive. So I increase my count by 1 because of this one. And then I move on. Of course, when I get here, it's not these two aren't the same. And what I'm going to do is reset my count to 1 so that the count of 2's will be 1. And then when I get here, looking next to it, the count of 2's will be 2. Again, not explained very well, but that'll have to do. Perhaps the code will explain it further. what I'm doing with this if statement is saying if I'm not at the very end of the string and the digit character next to this digit is the same, then I'm going to increase my count because I found another consecutive digit. Well, not consecutive digit, but I found a consecutive duplicate. Hopefully I haven't been using the wrong word this entire time, but the code will say what it says. The code will be correct. That's really what I mean. So the if is going to be if the consecutive digit characters are the same. The else will be if they're not the same, if the consecutive digit characters are not the same. It's either going to mean that these two next to each other just aren't the same, or a string of consecutive digits is now changed to another digit. And in either of those cases, I am going to get a count or get the count of the consecutive digits that I have and concatenate it to my whole string of consecutive, or my whole return string, basically. Counts is the string that I'm going to be returning, and then what I'm doing here is I'm taking my current count of consecutive duplicates concatenated with the current digit character that I was counting the consecutive duplicates of. And then I'm going to reset my count, because if I'm no longer counting duplicates, I need to reset the count so that on the next turn I can begin counting the next set of possibly consecutive duplicates. And I'm just incrementing I because that'll keep the loop going and keep the really keep the indexing going to the next element. Then we return the counts, and there we go. Again, counts is the return string. Let's dig in here, shall we, kitties? Good there. Good there. Good there. So now the national nightmare is over. The rambling, disjointed kind of explanation that really didn't explain anything is done. I think I'll do better. I will do better next time. This was not my best explanation situation, but brain's a little scattered this evening, but it is what it is. Every day ain't gonna be your best day, my friends. But got a solution for you, good enough, and if you're gonna read the code, you can probably get it, and you got it, I got it, and that's good. So this was print and count numbers, Python, Codewars. Let's get it, let's crush it, let's go. See ya.